Happy New Year to everyone. It is a bright and shiny 2021. We hope everyone has had a restful holiday. 2020 was mostly a global mess, but some good things came out of it. The motorcycle industry, at least in North America, did pretty well. And I think a lot of us reprioritized things in our lives that focused more on making us happy, and I can never argue with that. With the series of vaccines that developed in record time, everyone is hoping to get back to some sort of whatever normal is going to be. For adventure riders, that means hitting the road. That's right, hitting the road. Hopefully not literally. But what are some tools you can use to plan your trip, short or long distance? What are some good destinations? All of this and more on ADVMoto Live number 21. But first, we've got a bit of a special surprise and feature for everyone who's signing on, tonight. We've got an update from Kira and Justin. They're our co-managing editors. I'm sure some of you have seen them around before. But they are now at the 2021 Dakar in Saudi Arabia. They're about 8 hours ahead of us, so you can imagine it's pretty late there. Most of the contenders are sleeping, but they are writing press releases. She has, however, taken a few minutes to put together a short clip of the bivouac at night over there. It was literally just sent in about an hour ago. So everyone, please, let's check it out.
Hi guys, if you don't know, I'm Kira. I'm the co-managing editor at ADVMoto. And I'm here in Saudi Arabia covering the Dakar Rally. And I'm trying to show you guys right now. Sorry, I'm in selfie mode, so it's backwards. And usually I don't selfie horizontally, so this is actually kind of hard. As you can see, some of the cars are just coming through. It was actually, today was like the hardest day or hardest stage supposedly in the entire race. So I was gonna have my friend Skylar Howes on. I'm afraid he is totally passed out. He's gonna be waking up at like 3 in the morning to prep to go and start his liaison at 4. So as you can tell, we're in a bubble right now, so I have to have my mask on, but I'm gonna do my best to try and give you a little bit of a tour. Right behind me is the cafeteria where everybody eats, and the screen over there you'll see they usually play kind of the video recap of the day and then do the rider briefing, which for us tonight it's starting at 9, which is pretty late, but if you can't tell, it's kind of empty here right now, and that's because a lot of people got lost, and they came up with a second bivouac because they knew that there were going to be people who weren't going to be out of the dunes in time. So let's kind of do a little tour, I guess.
Sala by nearly 11 minutes, Jones in third, Quintero and Al Sayed. And in SSV, it's Chaleco ahead of Dom Sala by 11 minutes, Jones in third.
So behind me is the Melee Moto class, and if you don't know, it's Melee means box, and these guys are hands down the toughest people who are coming to this race. I mean, the box that we're talking about, they can only pack and ship here what they can fit in that box, minus some tires and I think a little bit of luggage. These guys have to work on their bikes all by themselves when they get in the bivouac, ride all day, sometimes all night, and essentially they're disqualified if anyone touches their bike except to change tires. And I mean, it's really grueling already to do the Dakar, and then to do it almost unsupported I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. I could never imagine doing it myself, but these guys, you should keep an eye on them. They are the toughest ones here. Behind me, is the BF Goodrich tent, and it is one of the tire changing stations out here. So, I mean, this is the place where all the racers are, you know, some of the racers go to make sure that their tires are reset for the next day. Speaking of which, this year the ASO decided that to reduce speeds, they are going to make it that you can, as a motorcyclist, you can only change your rear tire 6 times throughout the race. And you know, if you know how hard these guys are riding, that's not a lot of tires. And so the idea is that it forces the racers to slow down a bit and kind of manage their tires, which is funny because so far all of the stages have been extremely fast. So we'll see how people fare, right? Behind me is the Bass Dakar KTM team. And like I said, my friend Skylar was going to be on tonight, but now he's in there sleeping because he has to wake up early. So if you don't know, Skylar last year as a privateer won the 9th position when he finished, which it was only his 2nd year. That's pretty amazing already. And then he did it as a privateer, which is unheard of. I mean, it's very rare, at least nowadays, the way the competition is, the way, you know, how fast the vehicles are. It's very hard to be a privateer and compete with factory teams. And now he's doing it this year even better than before. He's been in top 10 pretty much half of the race at least, and it's, you know, we're still got another week to go. And even one of the days he got 1st overall. So he's really kicking ass, and you know, there's a lot of great Americans here, and he's just, you know, he's my friend and he's a fan favorite, so let's hope to see more of him later. Okay, let's see if they'll let us film his bike a little bit, and then I will say goodbye. I think that's everything for me right now. I got to get back to work, and I'm pretty sure there's not, Carl doesn't have that much time to put me into the live show. So thanks for watching, and Carl, I hope you guys are doing well out there. See you later.
All right. Man, that was an awesome little glimpse into the life over there on the bivouac. You know, we're really excited to welcome Justin and Kira back on the show next month, and we'll have a little more details on that at the end of tonight's episode. But on with our main show. Our feature guest for tonight needs very little to no introduction for many of us who regularly scour the adventure web. She's been riding since 12 years old in the great state of Maine, or from the great state of Maine. She eventually started racing everything from motocross to drag racing before finding a love in adventure riding. And before long, she was building her own obstacle courses and competing in BMW's International GS Trophy. Now she's an important part of the BDR program and inspiring everyone to explore the United States. From riding around the world or her backyard, she's a wealth of knowledge and infectious energy. Everyone, please welcome Jocelyn Snow.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you. Gosh, it's so good to be here. How are you?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
What's up with you? I mean, you know, where are you right now?
Well, you know, I'm actually behind this little blue wall is my shop. I'm actually at work. That's where I've been spending a lot of my time.
All right. What's your day job when you're not out conquering the trails?
So I'm a sign contractor. So I have a sign business as well as a vehicle wrap company. So we're always busy building, servicing, fabricating, installing signage for different businesses, and doing vehicle wraps and graphics. Keeps me pretty busy.
Well, that's a lot of literally hands-on work.
Yeah, it is. And, it's sometimes difficult to balance my work and my riding. I always want to be riding, I always want to be out on the bike, but of course, in order to fund that, you kind of have to put some time on the clock. So, but I have a fantastic staff and they're so good. They take such good care of me. So whenever I have an event or a ride or something that I just got to get to, they really step it up, cover the shop for me. So I'm real fortunate that way.
Oh, well, that's good. It's good to have, good staff, and just really friends that are there to, be able to back you up. So, you can go out and do all the other crazy stuff you need to do.
Right? There's never
Yeah.
enough hours in the day for all the fun we want to have.
Yeah, that's true. And didn't you just finish kind of like a contest? You're also like a contractor or something like that, right? And you just and you just had a contest for like a $10,000 dream garage build, which by the way I could use. I don't know if you've got any extra one of those programs going around.
Well, yes, you're right. So I decided to give away a dream garage. A lot of people are going, you got to be crazy. You're giving away $10,000 of your money to build out somebody else's garage. I don't understand. How does it work? Why are you doing this? And I'm so glad I am. I haven't had any regrets. Basically, when this thing started, or how it started, I was working in my garage on my newly acquired BMW 450 dirt bike. I was working on it, had the music going, just kind of enjoying my space. And I went, oh, my friends stopped by, a couple of friends stopped by and went into the beer fridge and grabbed a drink and sat down and we started bench racing and telling moto stories. And it was just such a fantastic time. After everybody left, I was locking up and I went across the way to the barn and was locking up the barn. And I happened to look at one of the motorcycles I had that was just been sitting there for a while. I have a few different adventure bikes. So this poor adventure bike was just sitting. And I thought to myself, I could sell that thing and raise enough money to build somebody a garage like I have. And that could be pretty fun. And so it went from something casual because I had I had posted a picture of my garage on social media. I think it was Facebook, and people were replying, "Oh, that's amazing, and what a dream, and I could only wish I had a garage like that." And I felt, instead of feeling proud of my garage, I felt kind of sad that these people didn't have. I mean, this is something I guess I kind of take for granted. So it went from there to become a giveaway, and then it went from that into, well, who do I give it to and how do I give this away? So that went into a contest. And let me tell you what, Carl, the entries that I got for this contest, we had, I think it was almost 150, and people had to send in pictures of their existing garage, and wow, that space becomes a storage for a lot of people,
Yeah. Well, garages are a lot of things to a lot of people, and they're kind of different things to even people in the same house. For some people, it's almost like their own mini temple or church or something. You can kind of go in there, get away from everything. People might not bother you as much if they know you're working on something or something like that. But for some people, it's just a place to throw stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? That won't fit in your living room or your basement or whatever. Like, it's just a place to throw it. But either way, it behooves us all to have a well-organized garage. And that is something that is actually on one of my New Year's list resolutions.
There you
go. I got two small kids, and man, the garage fills up pretty fast with bicycles and everything like that. But anyway, yeah. So you got a lot of things going on. So how much time do you find you can take off to ride?
Yeah, riding's tricky. I haven't done a lot of large rides. Sometimes I'm able to go out on the weekend and do a spin. Luckily, I have that challenge course in my backyard, and I have 15 acres. So, sometimes if I can get an early morning or get home before it gets too dark, I'm able to do a little ride. But, probably Not as much riding. It's supposed to be like my New Year's resolution was going to be do more riding, but I don't know. Probably not.
You've already done a little. I think I
Yeah,
was following your Instagram. It looked like you were out, snapping some pics and doing some videos and stuff. So there's something there.
I'm always able to take Christmas. I usually do a ride with my buddy at Brock at Christmas time, so that was a lot of fun. We got up into the snow. We went from the snow up in Northern California all the way into Nevada. I don't know how many miles we logged, but we were all over the place. It was a good time. We posted a few photos up on the Instagram. But yeah, I made some New Year's resolutions. I decided that this year, 2021, I'm gonna ride to 12 new places. So that's averaging like a new place every month. It shouldn't be too difficult to do. And I'm also going to attend a rally. That's a goal of mine as well.
There you go. Right on.
Hopefully,
Right on.
because I miss the rallies. I miss my friends. I miss, that camaraderie where we all come together and talk about riding. And my third New Year's resolution, I try to do this every year, is I'm going to teach somebody how to ride. So if anybody's watching this and they don't know how to ride, hit me up, because that's definitely a goal.
Well, that's right. And she can actually do that too, because I believe you're a certified trainer. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you got plenty of things, going on, and it sounds like, really probably just like a lot of people, sometimes you can get away for, more time, but sometimes, probably most of the time, you can't. You're kind of tethered to some kind of responsibility or something at home or for work. Times being what they are, sometimes that's both. But yeah, so how do you plan differently, between a short or a long ride, so let's say someone, only has, let's say they've got a weekend or something like that, or let's say you only have a weekend. Let's say you've got a day or maybe a night, maximum 2 nights, that you can take away from your usual routine. You know what I mean? I mean, what's the difference in doing this planning?
Well, I guess to determine whether I'm going to be taking what would be considered a longer ride and a shorter ride, I just got to ask myself, am I coming home tonight? And sometimes that makes all the difference. And even if I'm coming home tonight and I think it's going to be a day ride, we're adventure riders. And we tend to explore. Our curiosity gets the best of us. What's down that road? Well, I can go down that trail, and what's past that trail? All this goes somewhere else, and before you know it, at least with me anyway, what's supposed to be a day ride turns into a multiple day ride. So with that said, if I'm planning on doing a day ride, meaning I'm coming home tonight, I still will pack for an adventure, because you never know. I actually have been stuck out several days. As a matter of fact, the Christmas ride was supposed to be 4 days, and we got stuck there. All the mountain passes were closed, and we had to go way out of our way to get back into California. And so that added a day. And on top of it, we were going right by Titus Canyon, and I wanted to do that. So, it just extended the trip a little bit. So, yeah.
Well, so within, let's say, a day's ride or a couple of days from where you are in California, what are some real good, ADV dual sport riding areas near where you are?
So where I'm at, we have Big Sur, and Big Sur is just a half hour, 45 minutes out from where I live. Then you have to go right by Laguna Seca on the way, so it's not such a bad ride. There has been some fire damage, unfortunately, but we're hoping with the rain that they'll be able to open up some of these fire roads. We have a very cool road that runs about, I'm going to say, it's a good hour and a half ride, and it runs across the top of the mountains all the way from one end down to the other end of Big Sur, and then eventually just kind of rolls its way down to the ocean. And that's just a gorgeous, gorgeous ride. We also have a bunch of like OHV areas, as well as like, places that you can just go and ride, even though there's a lot of dirt bikes out there. Sometimes if you can catch it on a weekday, and we have like Hollister Hills and Carnegie and different parks like that. And they are really fun to go to during the week. Take your adventure bike out and challenge yourself. Maybe go out onto the motocross track when there's no one there, or do some tight trail riding. That's pretty fun too. And then of course, just go the other direction. Another 45 minutes the other way, I have the redwood trees, Big Basin. If you want to go up Highway 9 up to the famous Alice's, that's always a blast. And once you get up there, gosh, there's this street riding forever. Curvy, fun, carve through the canyons, just the best. And again, pops you right out along the ocean into Santa Cruz, and it's a great day. So if anybody wants to go for a day ride around here, let me know, because there's plenty to choose from. I'm very fortunate to live where I do.
Well, that's cool. Kevin Zucht, from the audience, says he's got a brother lives at Miranda. That's just north of you.
Yes.
Do you know Miranda? Is there anything cool around there?
Isn't everything cool? I don't know. We can't give away all the cool spots, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. All right. Shh. Secret. Okay. Well, that's cool. So, so you're saying that you only really, that you can't really pack for a short ride. Kevin even said something like that in the chat room, but, you always have to take a minimum, right? So for a short ride, what do you consider, in part of your kit as a minimum?
For a short ride, I still always carry my tool pack. I like the cruise tools, travel tool pack. It's all ready to go. It's set up for my bike, and I've got plenty of extra tools to fit other people's bikes. I didn't used to carry, but I now carry a filter for water. I've actually run out of water. That's really what happens when you start going, what's down here and what's down here and what's down here. And then I've gotten myself into predicaments where it was going to take a while to get the bike back out, and water's pretty important. And if I carry extra water, that's great. But if I ever run out, it's always good to be able to, turn a muddy mud puddle into something you can drink. So I take that. I also take a siphon tool, a siphon pump. Because I don't always want to carry spare fuel unless I'm going on a long trip. And most of the time when I'm siphoning fuel for someone, it's for someone more than for myself. So that's always good, And
well, gas tastes horrible.
It does. It does. And that's why the siphon pump is pretty awesome. It's just like a hose on each end with a pump in the middle. And it makes it, lickety split. You can get yourself enough fuel to get out of where you got to go. And if you saw my recent towing video, how to tow a bike, I carry a tow strap, and I've had to use it. And what's interesting is I've had to use it more than you would imagine. I had to use it on the Christmas ride a couple of years ago when a bike went over the cliff. And I almost had to use it actually just recently, where my buddy broke his clutch lever, some other things, and we were going to have to tow the bike. But yeah, tow straps are pretty important, and you can use them for a lot of different things. And if it hopefully never comes to it, but in the event that you need to provide first aid, they're nice to tie up as a tourniquet or something like that. Of course, I always try to bring some money. And
cash.
Yeah, a little bit of cash, tuck it away in a couple of different spots just in case. And then a tracking device, whether it's a spot or a DeLorme, something like that. And I've said in the past, I've looked at it and like, I don't need to carry it. I just throw it on the counter in the garage. And that's when I needed it. That's a trip I didn't think I was going to need it. It's just going to be a day ride, maybe a 2-day ride. But Yeah, I really wished I would have had it. So now I just carry it with me all the time. I always take first aid kit, always. Um, Regardless how long or how short the ride, I always have a first aid kit, and I've been really glad that I have. That's about it. A little food, a couple of snacks. I don't know how you ride when you get hangry, Carl, but I don't ride so good when I'm hangry. Even just something with a little sugar, some jelly beans, a granola bar, something like that.
Yeah,
And, yeah.
yeah. When I was in Tibet and I was riding, I was a much younger man back then. But in China they had these little tubes. Like peanut butter was not as common, and it wasn't what you put on bread or sandwiches. They had these little tubes. They were like snacks. So I would pack a bunch of these little tubes of peanut butter, and then they had these compressed biscuits, and that's what I would literally eat all day for breakfast and lunch. And then I would try to find some place that had a more normal warm meal at night. But you have to eat pretty simple when. I got to be honest with you, I could probably use some of that, diet again.
That actually sounds pretty good. Maybe you could order some of those on Amazon and send them my way.
Yeah, I don't know if you
Yeah,
would want to eat some of the ones that I ate, but
I don't know.
but you could try it if you wanted to. Some of them were like mincemeat flavored. It was kind of bizarre, but when you're starving in
Oh,
the middle of nowhere, you eat you eat anything. It was more like a military ration food that I sweetened up with some peanut butter.
right.
But yeah, here we have a much more luxurious assortment of food. We've got power bars, we've got all these dried camping foods and stuff like that. Oh, I was going to ask you, when you filter your water, what kind of filter do you use?
I don't recall the brand because I took it out of the package, but it's just a little handheld one where you just kind of can put it in, push it through, and it comes out into a cup or a glass or whatever you want to use or what you're drinking with. I'm not sure what brand it is. That's a good question. What do you use?
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't done any real long distance stuff around here, and there's water everywhere
Ah,
out here. So I don't normally carry a filter, but I will carry at least an extra couple bottles of water in the
okay.
bags, and I will carry a Camelback too as well. To be honest with you, it's been a while since I've been on any extended rides, and that's another thing I want to do this year. I've only been through sections of the MABDR, just in local riding, and I would like to probably actually kind of go that with some of the crew out here. For those who
Yeah.
don't know, we're based in Virginia, so we're East Coast homies over here. Awesome. So all right, so for long trips then. I mean, I'm sure that there's some overlap, but when you're planning for long trips, what's the difference? And how much time do you consider long in terms of being away?
All right. Well, so a longer trip, we went to the micro trip, which could be like you're commuting. You got to go to and from work, or you're just going to go down to the store. And then you have your short trip, which we thought was maybe, am I coming home today? We're planning on that to be coming home today. And then I'll have like a multiple day trip, and that would be like the Christmas ride I was talking about, 3, 4 days ride. But then when you get into a journey or an adventure, now I'm thinking that would be like when I went to Alaska, that was 30 days, 12,000 miles, and that was quite a ride, quite an adventure, and it took a lot of planning and packing and making sure that I had all the right things, and I learned a lot from that trip. Um, this year, at the end of this year, I'm going to take a 60-day trip, so that's going to be fun. I'm going to take a ride with a group of friends, and we're going to go on Helge's ride. We're going to do China, Tibet, Nepal, India, Thailand. We're just kind of go all around. So that'll be fun. But there's a lot of preparation that has to take place for a long trip like that, whether it's Alaska or if you're going to another country. It still takes quite a bit. And packing is very important. There's nothing worse than when you don't have something and you really need it.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, yeah, this is, and if I recall, this is Helge's. This is like one of his final trips, right?
Yeah, so he has 3 more trips. and he's retiring, right? Wow. And so this is one of three.
Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
I'm
Well, for those who might not know, Helge Peterson, right? Peterson or Pedersen? What's the correct?
It's Prince envelope, I think, unless we were
Oh, okay.
asking him.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, he's really been a mainstay staple for the adventure touring, globally, even since before it became popular in the United States. And is it Globe Riders? Was that?
Yes, Glover.
Yeah, yeah, right. And I mean, he's been doing some really extensive rallies and managed to get people into some countries like China that are very difficult to get into, if you're just transiting through there. Well, if you do go, end up going through there and being able to meet some locals and stuff like that, please say "Jashi Dele" to some of the local Tibetans. That's their hello, and they're just some of the warmest, friendliest people I've probably ever met in my entire life. But well, I mean, that sounds fantastic. So, we got short trips. We could take longer trips, and then you got these kind of like full blown 2 month long international trips. You know what I mean? Is there one that you like more than the other, or do you just kind of try to get in as many as you can?
They're all adventures in their own way, and they're all exciting. Sometimes, I mean, I've had a day ride that has been so memorable, and I mean, just a blast. And then, of course, I've had a long ride, 30 days or more. For me, I don't have one that I prefer over the other. I think they're just really different, though. For instance, when we were at the trophy in Mongolia, or recently in New Zealand, that was a week and a half there, riding all over. That's amazing. And sometimes when you get into, for me anyway, when I get into the longer trips, it becomes a little bit less about the riding, which is always good, and a little bit more about the people. Because the longer I'm there, the more I settle into the culture and start to meet the locals. I did Colombia a couple of times last year, South Africa, and that's just amazing. And it's a different type of experience. And whereas, a couple day ride or something that I might do more locally, it's more something I might do with some closer friends, and just maybe just exploring what's nearby or closer to me, and even like the Christmas ride, it's 4 days, 5 days of just California and Nevada, right around home, not far. And just being real grateful for what I have around me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. From time to time, especially recently, we've been talking about this idea of investing in yourself. Especially with 2020 kind of being a little awkward. But we're meeting a lot of people, both young and old, who are planning to really get out this year now that things are loosening up, maybe a little bit, at least domestically. To you, I mean, what do you get out of adventure travel?
Well, so adventure travel is quite a contrast to just everyday travel. For instance, everyday travel, if you're in a car or a bus or taxi, what have you, it's kind of somewhat, usually anyway, uneventful. It's mild travel, if you will. But when you're on an adventure bike, you're literally physically working for it. You're feeling the terrain and the elements and the temperature changes, and you're smelling the fresh air, and I feel like adventure riding is so much more than just everyday travel. And it's a big difference. If you're on a street bike, I like street riding, don't get me wrong, but if you're on a street bike, you're kind of going from here to there, whereas with an adventure bike, you just really absorb, your surroundings. I think adventure riding, you also get like a sense of accomplishment, getting from point A to point B. And that becomes more and more like the more you dish it out, like the more technical the ride gets, that's the kind of ride when you're done and you plop down with your buddies and you're like, yeah, like that was so cool. But it really probably wasn't cool in the middle of the ride because you're struggling with the terrain or, the weather or your bike or whatever it is. But boy, when you get through something like that and you've made it to your destination, whatever it is, it's the best. You feel like you've done it.
Well, you grow and you become more confident from doing things you didn't believe you could do before, and that's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's got to be one of the best things. I mean, I remember, I think it was the Tiger 1200 junket, and I think it was either in Spain or in Italy. Anyway, some of these people, they had all the international journos there, and they had some. I think it was from India, so they had the Asian journos there. Some of these guys had never ridden a bike that large
Wow.
through rocks and sand and all this other kinds of stuff. And the trainer there from Triumph was just like, yeah, this guy was literally paralyzed, and we got to a section, he was kind of he was crying. And because he didn't want to, I mean, those are large, expensive bikes. I mean, you're used to riding 125s and 150s. Then suddenly you're on this 1200 cc, $20,000 machine. I mean, you might as well be flying a spaceship. I mean, come on, let's be honest. You've got all these dash controls, and the screens are blinking at you, and you've got warning lights and all this kinds of weird stuff going on. I mean, straight up, you might as well be sitting in a starfighter, you know? But he said he worked with the guy all day, and he got him to the point where he could go over it. And at the end of the day, he took off his helmet, and he was just a giant smile.
See.
And that's what it is. He went back from that a different person, and that's what I hope we all try to get out of the world of ADV. Whatever it is we're looking for, I think that's the main thing. We want to become different people and grow.
It's so true. And I guess I would add one other thing that maybe separates the general travel from adventure travel is you connect with other people when you're out on the bike, and you see other riders and you want to stop and see what they're doing and where they're going and what they've been up to, and vice versa. You always pull into a gas station, and I mean, gosh, of course you're going to have a conversation. If you're traveling in a car, I mean, how many times have you pulled up to a gas station in your car and just really had a memorable conversation with someone else? That's what I love about adventure travel.
Yeah, it's really cool. So now, how about usually when people think about taking trips, they think about, oh, I want to go to this place, or I want to go see this place. But actually, right, in our community, we can do a lot of different things. Meaning, we can go to events. We can go to trainings. We can go to rallies. We can go to things maybe a little less organized in rallies, like local kind of meetups and stuff like that. I mean, I know that there are some events that are kicking back up in 2021. At least on the East Coast, which is what I'm more familiar with. Do you know anything that's going on over there in the West Coast that that'll be happening this year?
Yeah, so I've been watching and listening with fingers crossed, hoping that some of the rallies are going to be coming back. There's still a lot of talk. Since the COVID started, a lot of people aren't real sure, and I'm sure it's a risk to plan a rally. I did see recently, though, I think it was last week, the IMS, the International Motorcycle Shows, announced that they're going to be doing an outdoor show.
Yeah, outdoor series, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. And I think, they're coming your way too, right? New York, I believe.
Yeah, I think they're doing that basically nationally. I think they're trying to do it, full on nationally.
Yep.
And they may have canceled the one, I'm not sure, so no one quote me on this, but I think they may have dropped the one in Washington, D.C., which I think is the last time we met each other.
Yeah,
you came out
right.
with the BDR crew out in D.C., and they had kind of moved it to a smaller venue.
Right.
So but a lot of the IMS shows out west are just much bigger and much more interesting, than that one. So yeah, you can always go to ones like that. I know on the East Coast, I think we've got the Turatech Dirt Days rally. That one is, I think that one's up in Maine, your home state there, I believe, this year. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Then we have a bunch of
them too, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Soggy Bottom.
I know.
Will be going on. Let's see what else. Horizons Unlimited, I think, is firing up a lot of the ones in Virginia. And Kevin, if you're in BC, right, they have that scavenger hunt, Mountain Madness going on there. Kevin is one of our regular listeners. He's in here right now. So Horizons Unlimited is trying to keep everything going. And of course, ADVMoto, we will be having we'll be reviving our rally here this spring. So if anyone is interested and is in the Mid-Atlantic area, stay tuned for more information, on that. But yes, you can go to rallies. The other thing too is training.
Yes.
Yeah, some of these training are full-on events. I mean, do you? I mean, of course, aside from yourself, are there any other trainers that you would recommend that might be spread out through different parts of the country?
Absolutely. There's Rawhide Adventures, which is down in Castaic, California. We have the Dart School. We have Dusty has the West 38 Moto.
That's Colorado, right?
Colorado, yeah.
Dart is Oklahoma.
He is Oklahoma, and I do think that's Phil Dragoo, right? And
Yeah.
he also travels around, so I think I've seen him do schools in different areas. Gosh, I really don't want to leave anyone out. I'm going to never hear the end of it.
That's a problem. That's a problem. Yes, but there are trainers, spread out throughout the United States now, and the training has been another industry which has really boomed in the past 10 years here. Immediately in the DC area, we've got DC Dirt Camp. But anyway, there are places that you can go around and get training. They will have classes, and it's just as fun as probably anything else. Maybe a little lower pressure, than saying, well, I'm going to meet a bunch of strangers and we're going to go do some rides or trails that I'm not really going to know if I'm comfortable doing it. And you worry about, group, the group psychology, going faster and all the machismo and all that other kinds of stuff like that. Training is much more low key, and you can have a whole ton of fun doing it as well.
Yeah, and I think it's really good it's a good way to boost your confidence, and with a better confidence, then you can ride better and probably have better experiences out there when you're riding.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no substitute for that. And also, everyone, if if you know anyone that's listening, if you know of anyone that's a good trainer that we haven't listed or we're not aware of, feel free to stick them in the comments. In our description, we're going to put up links to some useful assets and stuff like that. And we'll probably do a mini version of an article for this. But feel free to give your friends that work hard, in this industry to establish something a shout out. And we'll be happy to know more about them and share that with other people as well. That's actually really important to be sure that we get the word out.
Yeah, and I think even if maybe somebody doesn't have the funds or the time off to go and do some training, you can also do some training on your own. There's a lot of good YouTube videos out there, and just practicing some simple maneuvers even in your backyard. Got a little lawn patch, or go down to somewhere in town where you can spin around a bit and do some things like figure eights, some lock-to-lock turns. Going slow on a bike is always good practice to get you to go faster. Clutch drills are good, and I would say if you've got time and you're stuck home on the COVID, then go ahead and practice plugging some tires. That's always good because you never know. Or change a tire, or if you have a tubed tire, then changing a tube. It's good to just do that when you practice that when you have your home and the comfort of your house, and you've got everything right there where you need it. And that way, when it does happen, when you're out on the trail, it's not such a scary situation.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, thinking about being at home, there's a lot of stuff, whether you're doing a short trip, like, around your own, neighborhood, or you're, heading out off to the wild blue yonder, so to speak. There's a lot of tools and stuff that you can use at home to, find routes, what are some cool things that you use? Maybe it's software or
Yeah.
internet pages or good old fashioned paper maps.
So, all right. I might shock a few people,
Shock
but
away.
here we go. So I plan a lot of rides. I lead a lot of rides. I've led some tours and stuff, and this is what I do. I start off, even my Alaska trip, I start off on Google. Google Earth, Google, drop that little man down into those dirt roads and see what looks good, see what has a gate, see what doesn't. Try to find some, dirt roads that wind along the rivers and start to plan. If you're going to go from point A to point B, really get in there and kind of dissect the terrain, what's going on between here and there, and what's the most inefficient way to get there. In other words, if it's an hour by highway, can I do it in 6? That's a ride. I don't use Basecamp or any of those other ones that everybody else uses. I actually use a program called My Scenic Drives. It's actually online and it's free. You can just go to myscenicdrives.com. What I like about it is anyone can start using it right away. You don't need any training. I don't even think it comes with directions. It looks very similar to Google Earth or Google Maps. You just go on there, you look at point A to point B, and then you start clicking different roads along the way and making a point, and forcing that track. And usually I'll have My Scenic Drives open on one window, and I'll have Google Maps open on the next window. That way I can look at maybe local businesses or hotels or campgrounds, and then go back over to my page to finish planning the route. What's cool is when my route's all planned, it'll tell me, oh, it's going to take you 8 days to get an hour away. Then I know I've got a good route, and I can save it and then export it as a GPX file. It has a little drop down, and it has pretty much, I think, just about every GPS out there. And you can save the file, drop it on your desktop, plug in your GPS, drag it over, and boom, let's go ride. And my friends that ride with me, they know that I plan trips like this in a matter of like 20 minutes before, while everybody's warming up their bikes. I'm like on the computer just dropping this in. Another thing I like about it is I can go to any computer anywhere and log on to myscenicdrives.com. And when I log in, my drives are there. Every route I've ever planned is there. So years and years of cool rides. And what's nice about that is maybe you didn't expect to have the day off, but you do, and you decided you're going to go for a ride last minute, but you're not sure where to go. And well, I can just log on to My Scenic Drives, and I've got like 100 rides there, and half of them are local, and I can just click one, put it in the GPS, and then go. And that's what I do anyway. I don't know if that's like the right way, but
No, that's cool. And then, yeah, I mean, that's important. I mean, obviously, online internet stuff with all the information that can be shared and cataloged and and then of course, layers of information, not just routes, but also images on the routes and, things like elevation, people's experiences and their suggestions if things are opened or closed, The other thing too is for Google Earth and Maps, those are seasonal images, right? So what it may look like during on the map might not be the exact same thing you see when you get there, depending on when the image was snapped. But then of course you've got like our friends over at Butler Maps. They have amazing maps for the routes of BDR maps, but also other maps as well.
I do. I have the full collection of the Butler maps, and then I have the Mad maps. So whether you want to go for a street ride or a dirt ride, and sometimes it's nice to just kind of have those in your pannier when you're going on a trip, or at least have the maps that, coordinate to wherever you're going to be, and pull them out sometimes. They have, even if you just want to maybe even pop in, they have like the BDR maps. You could pop in just a section of a BDR. You don't necessarily have to do the whole thing. Recently, I found myself in Southern California, and well, we had the California BDR right there, but I didn't really want to do the entire thing. I was in
Just do
Nevada
part
as
of it.
well. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
just do like a quick day ride and pull the map out. I'm like, oh, we're not far from section 5. Let's just go do it and
Yeah. Yeah.
blast.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Kevin from the comments, he says he's thrown darts at maps.
That's
Uh,
awesome,
yeah, I
Kevin.
mean
That's a great idea.
that's how you do it, man. This dude busts out the brew and the darts and just starts sticking stuff on walls. And he says, Kevin says, I love planning, but I'm just trying to learn to leave it fluid, and that's another thing, right? Just the going out and getting lost. Some people are more comfortable, with that than others. I mean, some people really love to have plans, and they're real sticklers of plans. There's benefits to that. But some people are just kind of like, I'm just going to go head in a direction, and if I see something, I'm just going to go try and check it out. That may be more fruitful in certain parts of the country than others. I mean,
Sure.
around here in the East Coast, so a lot of the land is privately owned. So
Right.
even though you may see a really cool road, the chances are that it dead ends somewhere or up in a hollow or something like that. You know what I mean? So you have to turning around. But that doesn't mean that you're not finding anything interesting, and you never know unless you go and try, right?
Right. And, even for those that commute every day, to and from work on their bike, for you East Coast folks, when you commute in the summertime and the spring, I think it's neat to not always do the same route, even if your commute to work is 20 minutes. Try to challenge yourself and once a week take a different route to get there. You'd be surprised just in your town that you've lived in for many years. You just go down some back road and you discover there's a new restaurant or there's a park you didn't know about and stuff like that. And it's just kind of neat. Maybe you run into somebody and you have an adventure and you didn't even plan on it.
Yeah. Hey, here's a question: how much of an adventure do you think is the people you meet or the people that you're with? That's kind of an obscure question, but I just figured I'd just throw it out there.
Well, for me, that's the adventure. The longer I've been riding, you mentioned I've been riding for many, many years. And the longer I've been riding, the more I've found that the memories that I keep dear, the ones that stick in my head, the ones that feel to me like the most profound adventures are the ones where I've connected with someone, whether it's a riding buddy that I'm normally riding with, or I'm meeting some new people or riding with new people. It's all about the people. It really is. It just becomes more and more and more about the people. So that, to me, that's most of the adventure.
Yeah, yeah. People are a huge are a huge aspect of it, and I think people are individually different about that. I think some people try to focus on maybe the technical challenge of the ride, and that's what they really love, and that's what they really get out of it. Some people couldn't really care less about that. They see that as almost kind of, not say being burdensome. It's just part of the challenge, but they
Right.
just want to go see new things. You
Right.
know?
And I think some people enjoy riding with a group, some people enjoy riding with a riding buddy, and some people enjoy riding alone. And then there's some people like me where you like all of those things at different times. Of course it's about the people like I mentioned, but there is a time now and then where I just need a little solitude. I just need to be in my own mind with my bike and just take a ride. So I think that's important too.
Yeah. Oh, hey. Here's a question for you. Do
Okay.
you listen to music in your helmet?
Okay, I do. Yes, I do. I
Okay.
don't
Wait.
ask me what kind of music.
That was the follow-up question.
Okay, let's play a game. Why don't you try to guess, or why don't the viewers try to guess what kind of music I listen to when I'm riding off-road on my adventure bike? And let's see
Yes.
what kind of guesses we have, because I'm not sure if anyone.
Yeah, that's an awesome viewer challenge. That's an awesome viewer challenge. Everybody, in the chat, please enter. What kind of music do you think Jocelyn listens to while she's riding on on the bike in her helmet.
And you know what?
Okay. Okay. Here it comes. It's coming in fast and heavy. Heavy metal. Heavy metal.
No.
What does Jocelyn say? Ding or bzzz? Bzzz. No, no heavy metal. No like Metallica, Slayer, or any Guar.
Yeah, because honestly, heavy metal is going on inside me when I'm running.
I am heavy metal.
That's a hint. So.
All right. Oh, yo, Cypress Hill. Cypress Hill. I'm down with the hill.
Yeah, that's nice, but no.
No. Country. We've got 4 votes, 5 votes for country.
Okay, that's interesting. So let's talk about country. Yes, I've listened to country in my headset. However, it wasn't my choice. That's what I'm riding with my buddy, and he's sharing his music, and it's country, which is fine because I like country music too. But that's not what I purposely put into my Senna.
Okay. We've got blues, Baby Shark. We've got Baby Shark. We've got 70s, 80s rock, and Sam Jones says Radio Disney.
Those are great guesses, guys. So the blues is what I listen to after the ride when we're all sitting around the campfire having a cold beer. Love the blues. Okay, should I just give it up?
Sure. Spill the beans.
We're gonna watch people drop off like flies when I'm done with this. Okay.
She's like, Jamiroquai. It's like, what? Jamiroquai. They're horrible live.
So very soft French music.
Soft French music?
Yeah, like very, very soft French. Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Do you mean like instrumental music, or is there also words and singing in it? Do you speak French?
I do. I speak a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Je ne parle pas très bien français. Means I don't really speak that great French, so I don't understand all the words of the song, which is perfect. I just kind of have something going on in my head. But the soft music kind of keeps me calm, so I can pay attention to and focus on the terrain. But
That's
those were awesome guesses for everybody. Thanks for playing.
Those are champion guesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's fantastic. You know, it's tabernacle is what Kevin says.
Oh, that's bad. No, shut.
Am I gonna get censored because of the
you're
T word? I'm gonna get censored because of the T word. I thought that was Eastern Canada, or is that all Canada? I don't know. I thought that was just like Eastern Canada.
I think that's all French Canadian. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Although I did learn that word from my Eastern Canada. They're from Chicoutimi. My friends from Chicoutimi, Canada, taught me that word. They told me it meant hello, so like I went walking around in the town, and I was like, "Tabernacle." That didn't work so well.
These damn Americans, they are so rude.
Pretty much.
They're foul mouths south of the border.
Nope.
Anyway, that's straight up awesome. And yeah, you know, sometimes I like to listen to jazz because it's upbeat.
Yes.
But it is not distracting.
Yes, that would be my second choice, Carl. Good job.
Yeah, jazz. I love jazz, whether it's instrumental or vocal. Jazz is great to have. You know, whether you're working or anything, it's not distracting, but it's not like sleepy. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. All right, well, I'll tell you what. Let's we're almost out of time.
No, already.
Yeah, I know. You know, it just goes so fast. But you know, I have my canned question at the end. Do you have some words of encouragement or inspiration to everyone listening in 2021?
Eat the cake, buy the bike, take the ride. But seriously, you know, a lot of times I get messages from people saying, I've watched your videos, or I follow you on Instagram, and I'd love to have this type of a motorcycle, but I think it's too big, or it's too scary, or it's too this, or it's too that. And so I wanted to send a message to those people and say, just do it. I was afraid too, and I thought it was too big, and I thought it was too scary, and it's really all in your head. You can do anything you want. You can accomplish anything you want. For those of you who are working a lot, and that was your excuse for so long why you haven't gone on these fun rides, Maybe next year, or next year I'll be able to. Well, now we've had COVID and a lot of people have had furlough and you've spent some time at home. So I don't think there's a better time than now. And so I'll give you the Dolly Parton quote. Don't get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites.
I love
too,
that
as
one.
well. Yeah,
And
that's
then
awesome.
the last one is about living life to the fullest. We can't change it. We can't put more years in our life, but we can put more life in our years.
There you go. All solid. All solid. Well, thank you very much for coming on tonight, Jocelyn. You're fantastic guest. Love having you on. If you would love to come back on, of course, it would be our pleasure to have you back on. If that's cool.
Thank you. Thank you, Carl, and thanks to everybody who jumped on. I appreciate it. I really appreciate the support.
Yeah. Also, certainly thanks to everyone here. Please hang around for a few minutes after the show. We will just kind of close out. Okay. All right. Thank you. Well, all right. Thanks again to Jocelyn for taking some time tonight to be with us and share her ideas. She's always got something fun going on, so check out her YouTube and Instagram channel links that are in the description. We will also update the description with some of the other things that we had talked about today. In case you thinking it's like, well, man, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Maybe you can come back and it will help. But we've got some other announcements going on as well. First, we're going to be diversifying our video content, so we're going to be moving to one live show per month. You will still see my face, though, good or bad as that may be, as we are going to be doing stuff with ADVMoto Garage. We're going to be focusing more on some bike bits and gear. We have a few things lined up from that. One is we're going to do a little bit of video on our Project Himalayan, which was just in our most recent issue for January. That was an incredibly fun build. I love the Himalayan. It's one of my favorite bikes. It's one of my daily rides. And then we also have Tenere 700 updates that we're slowly rolling out. And we also have a sweet little Honda ADV 150 scooter here. I've just had a blast on some gravel roads, and we have some thoughts to share about it. But because we will have fewer live shows, it's really important that we make the most out of our time together. So everyone, please let us know what kind of topics or guests you would like to see on ADVMoto Live or any other type of talk show that we may do. Your feedback is really important in making sure that we make the programming that you want to watch. I really cannot overstate that. So please join us next time, next month for ADVMoto Live number 22 for our Dakar Rally update with USA Dakar contender Skylar Howes and our co-managing editors Kira and Justin, where we will be talking about the Dakar experience, what it takes to cover, compete, and conquer fresh back from the battle. As always, your support means a lot and keeps the motorcycle world running. Again, let us know what you'd like to see on the show in the comments below. And in the meantime, don't forget to mash those like and subscribe buttons and visit adventuremotorcycle.com for more stories, news, reviews, videos, podcasts, and more. Until next time, from everyone here at ADVMoto, ride safe, have fun.